Hello and welcome. Today we're here to talk about M365 Copilot. And before we do, let's watch this short video segment to kind of kick things off.
Wow. Straight to the top, never going down, don't wait for the drop.
I love that video segment. Collaborate, co-design, co-visualize. Copilot will change the way that you fundamentally do business. Microsoft's mission is to empower every person and every organization on the planet to achieve more. Nowhere is that mission more clearly defined than in Microsoft 365 Copilot. Microsoft 365 Copilot will make every person in your organization able to achieve more, whether they work in marketing or operations, sales, finance, the executive team, human resources, or data and IT. Microsoft 365 Copilot will help them be more productive, more creative, and more collaborative. Microsoft 365 Copilot is made up of 4 key components. The 4 key components are, first, the large language model. The large language model, or GPT, is there to provide information and insights in a generative form based on a model that was trained using the internet as its source. GPT models are very, very capable and very, very powerful. However, they don't include your company's data. And that's for good reason. The second part, or some secret sauce, if you will, to the Microsoft 365 Copilot platform is something called Microsoft Graph. Microsoft Graph is an API that allows us to ground a chat conversation in our company's private data. It effectively adds the capability to use generative AI in a large language model with our company's private data and maximize the security of that data. With Microsoft Graph, Graph will honor the permissions and the governance settings that are associated with your company's data so that only the users who have permissions to see that data can actually use it in Microsoft 365 Copilot. Microsoft 365 Copilot is a set of features that is embedded in the Microsoft 365 applications. It is not a separate application that you install. Instead, you simply purchase the licenses for M365 Copilot, and the features show up in the M365 apps. Now, those M365 apps might be on the local machines. They might be web-based M365 apps. Microsoft 365 Copilot is available in both locations. Here is a beautiful graphic, and this is Megan in the middle. Megan is our user of the day. And let's use this to discuss Microsoft Graph just a little bit more and talk to you about how that secret sauce actually works. Megan is an employee. Megan reports to a manager. Megan also has a team that report to her. Megan has documents that she creates and manages and uses. PowerPoint, Word, Excel. She uses OneNote. She has an email box in Exchange in Microsoft 365. She uses Outlook to interact with her mail. She works with Teams. She goes to Teams meetings and works in Teams chats on a regular basis. Microsoft Graph is the API that helps to ensure that Megan gets access to the files, the people, the applications, and the storage that Megan has permission to use. It also ensures that the governance that is applied to documents inside of our organization will continue to be respected. And so if there is a file, for example, that has been marked as highly confidential, and Megan does not have access to that document, then Megan will not be able to see it or use it in Microsoft 365 Copilot. Microsoft Graph is how we ensure that your data remains secure and compliant with your governance choices inside of Microsoft. If Copilot is new to you, you may consider beginning your journey at a place called Copilot Lab. As we work with Copilot, you're going to be issuing prompts and waiting for responses from Copilot. And this is very different than what we've done in the past. All of you are familiar with search. Search is what we started doing back in, say 1993. And we all learned how to write these very short 1 or 2 word searches to help us find websites. Today, that's not the way we work. When it comes to Copilot, we're writing oftentimes paragraph-long prompts to help us get access to information from a large language model. The Copilot Lab is a great place to start your journey and to use some of those curated prompts. Microsoft is completely committed to responsible AI practices. You can see on the screen the 6 responsible AI components: fairness, reliability and safety, privacy and security, inclusiveness, transparency, and accountability. I want to spend just a minute here talking about privacy and security. At Microsoft, Copilot is our second priority. Our first priority is security. As you work with Copilot in Microsoft 365, you need to be aware that your data is your data. Your data will not be used to train an OpenAI public GPT model. It is private. Your data is protected by the most comprehensive enterprise compliance and security controls in the industry. Security is our number 1 priority. Copilot follows closely behind. As we work together today, I want to start working with you on something called the art of the prompt. When we prompt Copilot, we need to make sure that our prompt contains the 4 components necessary to get great results from Copilot. Those 4 components are the goal, the context, the source, and the expectation. If you think about a prompt, if we will help Copilot know exactly what it is that we want, Copilot has a very much higher chance of responding in a way that we desire. So perhaps our goal is to do some research with Copilot. Copilot, I want to do some market research. Copilot, I want to do some financial research. Copilot, I want to know about the latest trends in human resources. Copilot, I want to know about sales practices and tactics. You see, we establish a goal right away. Context shapes the way we get to the goal. If our goal, for example, were to work with, a market analysis, then our context might be to describe which market segment. If our goal were to be able to do research on executive business practices, our context might be to define which practices. Are we talking about standards of business conduct or perhaps executive presence? Sources let us define where the information will be coming from. If we choose not to use sources, the large language model will simply provide us information from whichever sources it happens to have. We may want a specific source. If we are looking at, from a human resources perspective, perhaps our goal is to find out how our attrition and hiring rates compare with the rest of the industry. Perhaps we might want information from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. and we can specify that as a source that we'd like to use. Finally, our expectations define for Copilot what it is that we'd like to see in response. Do we want a table of information? Do we want it in the form of a letter? Do we want it in the form of a report? What is it that we actually want in terms of expectations? Goals, context, sources, and expectations help us write amazing prompts. Now, this is an art form, and it does take some practice. Let me give you an example. I attend a lot of meetings. My calendar seems to be full of them. They oftentimes overlap one another, and it really bothers me when I have to be late for a meeting. However, it happens pretty frequently. Luckily for me, Teams has this function with Copilot where I can say, recap this Teams meeting, whether I was there late or whether I missed the meeting entirely. Now, from a context perspective, I might not want the whole meeting. Maybe I was only 15 minutes late, and so I could say, I was late to attend and I need a brief overview of the project timeline that's been presented so far. Did Adele Vance propose any changes? You see how we've defined a source there? And then include the project timeline in a table and any proposed changes from Adele. This idea of goal, context, sources, and expectations can be put into a single prompt. It can go one prompt, let Copilot take that information and come back and provide me the information live during the Teams meeting. This way, I don't get that weird role where I jump in and ask questions that have already been asked or provide information that's already been shared. I can take a meaningful part in this meeting simply by getting updated. I'm using Microsoft 365 Copilot for Teams. At this point, let's step away from our PowerPoint and let's start a specific use case discussion. Well, it's time for us to talk about corporate executives and Microsoft 365 Copilot. Let's walk through a use case and talk about how an executive might use Microsoft 365 Copilot. When I begin my day, oftentimes my day begins with a review style component with Copilot. Oftentimes I'll use my mobile device or I'll use my laptop to just kind of start my day with what I might have missed overnight, what I might have on the calendar upcoming for the day. And I've actually started to like having conversations with Copilot. And I actually like to begin with Copilot on the desktop of my laptop.
Hey, Chris. How's everything in your world this afternoon?
Well, it's going pretty good. How about yourself?
Nice to hear. I'm just cruising along, eagerly waiting to see where our chat leads us. What's been keeping you busy lately?
Well, you know, I'm an executive at Microsoft, and there's a lot of things on my mind.
Being an executive comes with its fair share of juggling. What's been top of mind for you recently?
Gosh, stock price and the crazy changes that are happening in the world of the AI marketplace.
Yeah, the AI landscape is moving at lightning speed. How do you navigate the uncertainty and keep your team focused amid all the volatility in the market?
Yeah, it's a good question, and it's not easy. I'll be open and honest. One of the things that I'm interested in talking about today are your thoughts on future AI opportunities for me as an executive. So what ideas do you have for me to use AI as an executive?
One idea could be integrating AI to streamline operations by implementing an AI-powered dashboard for real-time monitoring of key performance indicators across departments. It could help you spot bottlenecks or trends instantly, enabling more proactive management. Another idea, employ AI for talent management, perhaps using predictive analytics to identify employees with leadership potential. With these insights, you could tailor development programs to nurture future leaders. Which areas of your role do you think could benefit most from an AI boost?
Wow, I love your idea of an AI-based dashboard driving key performance indicator information directly to the executive office. Give me some suggestions on how you might design a solution like that.
Great. To start, I'd recommend defining the specific KPIs you want to track: revenue, employee performance, customer satisfaction, etc. Prioritize those that align with your strategic goals. Next, consider data sources: sales figures, HR metrics, customer feedback, etc. Integrating these into a single platform will give you a comprehensive view. For the actual interface, design it to be visually intuitive: graphs, heat maps, and alerts for deviations from targets. Incorporate predictive analytics to forecast trends, and perhaps a natural language query option for easier interactions. As a final step, ensure data privacy and compliance with regulations like GDPR or CCPA. Does this spark any insights?
Yeah, I really like what you're talking about here. You know how I feel about stock prices and the way that we drive value to our shareholders. How do you think this might impact that?
With an AI-powered KPI dashboard, you could make faster, data-backed decisions, which could lead to a more agile response to market shifts or shareholder concerns. The ability to pinpoint areas for improvement and act quickly could boost investor confidence, potentially stabilizing stock prices. More reliable performance metrics could also lead to strategic adjustments that drive long-term value for shareholders. Ultimately, it intensifies your ability to showcase a well-oiled operation to the public. How would you prioritize implementing something like this given your current goals?
I think it'd probably come out pretty high on my priority list. Security, obviously.
Nice.
Yeah.
This is crucial. Robust cybersecurity measures should be embedded from the start to protect sensitive data. A proactive approach like regular security audits, encryption.
So I like where this is coming, and I like where it's leading us in terms of opportunities. Can you give me some insights about where you're getting the information? What kind of sources are you using?
My insights come from a broad understanding of common business practices, strategic management principles, and AI technologies. For specific examples, I'm drawing from my general knowledge base, which covers relevant trends and industry standards up to 2023. For your context, it's a blend of general knowledge about KPI dashboards, AI capabilities, and common executive concerns like shareholder value and data security. Anything more specific you're curious about?
Well, so I've been doing some work on executive presence, the gravitas of being an executive, and I would love you to go and check Harvard Business Review and let me know what their top 3 executive presence characteristics might be.
I can access live information, including specific articles or lists from publications like the Harvard Business Review. However, I can tell you that executive presence often involves traits like gravitas. This covers confidence, poise under pressure, and decisiveness. Communication, the ability to articulate ideas clearly and persuasively, and appearance. Not just about dressing well, but also about projecting an image of leadership. These attributes tend to resonate across many executive training programs and literature. What's your take on how these characteristics play out in your role?
They're a really big deal. You know, Copilot, I've loved our 5 minutes together this morning, and you've really helped to spark some ideas in me. I'm going to go ahead and move off to work now. I will chat with you later.
Sure thing, Chris. It's been a pleasure brainstorming. Let's catch up again soon.
Can't wait. Bye now.
Take care.
Now, that is how I like to begin my day. Now, notice something that happened. When I turn off the microphone, the entire transcript of that conversation has been recorded for me so that I can keep and use it for whatever purpose I might have. Now, I think that there were some great recommendations in that conversation about building personalized KPI-based dashboards for my organization. And so I might want to take this and drag this idea. See, I'm just going to copy that idea out, and I'm going to go to my browser, and we're going to start here in Microsoft 365 Copilot in the browser, and I'm going to take this idea that we just discussed in Copilot, and I'm going to use it here in the browser. Maybe I'm going to use it here in the browser. It's going to take me a second. Let's see. Take this, copy that. There we go. Paste that into the browser, and let's get Copilot to work on this. There we go. Now let's start editing this as a page that we can share with the rest of the executive team. So in this case, we've got some fantastic ideas about integrating AI for real-time monitoring, talent management. I like those. I'm real interested in the predictive analytics piece. So let's get what are some ways to implement predictive analytics for employee development? See how Copilot is automatically building prompts for me based on what it thinks I might want? And in this case, it's exactly right. What are some ways to implement predictive analytics for employee development? Skill gaps, personalized development plans, employee performance. I love all of that. Let's go ahead and edit it in Pages. See how I'm just building more and more and more here? The rest of my executive team can start to add their own insights and their own information. We can collaborate together, and we can move very, very quickly through this process of building a AI-based KPI personalized dashboard. Let's move from here into Microsoft Word. If we're going to do this personalized KPI dashboard, I assume it costs a little bit of money, and we're going to need approval from our board of directors. And so let's start a blank document here in Microsoft Word. Copilot meets us where we are, and here is our Copilot icon. We're going to use Draft with Copilot, and we're going to say, we would like to write a business proposal for a personalized KPI dashboard for the executive team. And let's go ahead and generate that. And we'll get started with a basic overview. Now, Microsoft 365 Copilot knows what we worked on. And so, therefore, can start to pull a little bit of information here from our conversations. Now, this has been written as a proposal letter. And that's not exactly what I want. And so, instead of keeping it, I'm going to say, write this as a business plan, not a letter. And we'll let Copilot go back and rewrite this and try again. Now, see, I like this better. And it has written it as a business plan. Now, most of the things that I see here I like. However, there's nothing here about benefits that I can see, right? There's projected outcomes. Let's go ahead and keep this. And before we get to projected outcomes, let's add a new section. And let's add a cost-benefit analysis. And we'll go ahead and generate that information. Now, anytime we start working with costs, it's important that you remember that the information that's being generated here is a first draft. And it is very likely that any numbers, unless you provide them, are likely going to be inaccurate. And so I need you to be aware that this is a first draft and that as the pilot, your job is to go through, refine the draft, and get to the final product. Let's go ahead and keep this. I think it looks quite good. Cost benefit analysis, there's development cost, training cost, maintenance costs, the benefits, better efficiency, decision making, higher ROI, employee satisfaction. I like this. It's a good document. It's 3 pages, about the right length for a simple business proposal. It does not have any of the tables or timelines. Perhaps we ought to add a little bit of that. Let's use Copilot one more time. Create a table of timelines and milestones for the project. And let's go ahead and generate those, and we'll put those in. And there we go. Requirements gathering in month 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So in this case, it looks like they're proposing a 5-month timeline for this project. We could change that. We could make it different, or we could leave it the way that it is. I think I'm happy with this. It seems to be about what I'm looking for. Let's go ahead and move to File, and let's save this. And we'll give it a name, and we'll call it KPI Dashboard BP for Business Plan, and I'm going to save it to OneDrive. Easy enough. At this point, I'm going to move over to Microsoft Outlook because I need to generate a new email and let everybody know about this new business plan for a KPI dashboard that we've come up with today. So I might send to my executive team, but let's have Copilot help us draft this idea. So we're going to say draft with Copilot. What do you want the email to say? We're going to have this email say, we have actually, here, let's do this. Let's use the / and let's find this document if we can. So what did we call it? We called it KPI. What do I want the email to say? Team, I would like to have your insights on a new KPI dashboard. Refer to the attachment. Provide feedback. Do it fast. Make it good. Now, I'm not giving it's not a great email, right? Team, I'd like to have your insights. Refer to the attachment, provide feedback, do it fast, make it good. That's not a good email. Luckily, Microsoft 365 Copilot can take what I'm saying and write it very nicely. Hope this email finds you well, reaching out to gather your valuable insights on a new KPI dashboard that I've been working on. Attach the document for your review. That's actually really good. Yeah, that's really good. I'd like it to be a little bit longer. Right? Let's make this just a little bit longer, create a little bit more of a sense of value through length. And I'd also like to make it like I wrote it. Now, in order for Microsoft 365 Copilot to do that, it's got to go look at my emails, which is already done. So life is good. See, I hope you're doing well. It knows that I never say, I hope this finds you well. I'm interested in your thoughts. In particular is one of my words. You'll notice I say that on a regular basis. It's got it. That's what I'm looking for. Now I'm going to go ahead and say keep it. I can add the attachment. There's the, let's look at OneDrive. And let's go to files. Let's see if we can find our, did I not close that? I bet I didn't. Here, let's just do this. Let's just copy a link to the document, and that way we can share it to everybody. There we go. Yeah, I like that. I like to put my links early on in the message, sometimes just right after the salutation, and then a simple subject line, and it's ready to go. So it took us all of about 2 minutes to create that email and have it ready for distribution, and I think it's good. Right? I think it's good. I'm not going to send this out to my executive team. In the real world, they don't want to see a demonstration email coming from me about a KPI dashboard. You might actually take that step, right? You might actually send it to your organization. Let's do a couple of more things. As an executive, your day likely revolves very quickly if you're anything like mine. I honestly receive all kinds of documents throughout the course of a day, and I'm expected to be able to analyze those documents and talk about them in meetings. I've received this document, the A-Datum 5-year financial results, and it comes in the form of a table that looks like a copy out of an Excel spreadsheet. What am I supposed to do with this? I've got a meeting coming up in 15 minutes, and I need to be able to talk smartly about this data. Well, Copilot has an analysis tool, and we're going to use the analysis tool to help us understand. So I'm going to say summarize this doc in 5 key points. And we'll let the M365 Copilot analyze the document and look at information on the document. So in this case, you can see revenue growth has shown fluctuations over the years, notable increases in 21 and 22. Gross profit margins have varied with a significant increase in 2020 and a peak in 2023. Net income has been improving. Total assets and liabilities have fluctuated, but 2023 our total liabilities have gone down, so our equity is going up. 73,000 in 2023, 90,000 in 2022. That's not what I had hoped for. I'd hope we would see that go the other direction. So let's ask some different questions. Tell me more about the gross profit margin. Microsoft 365 Copilot's already populating the questions that I should ask. The gross profit margin in this case, we're seeing the margin go 22, 43, 35, 37, 47. With one outlier in 2020, it looks like our profit margins continue to rise. So let's ask, what was the possible cause of the outlier for gross profits in 2020? Let's see what we get. The revenue was $82,000, which was lower. The cost of goods sold decreased significantly in 2020. by a couple of $1,000. The reduction of cost of goods sold, despite the lower revenue, means I got a higher gross profit margin. So for whatever reason, it looks like in 2020, I was able to produce goods for less money, and that difference drove a better profit margin, right? It drove a better profit margin for us. Now, at this point, I'm ready for this meeting. I understand what the spreadsheet is saying. I know the details. I can now talk about them in confidence, comfortably able to see and understand the data. How long did it take us? About 5 minutes. I've still got 10 minutes left for the meeting. Now, if we wanted, we could dive into this in more detail, but I don't think it's necessary. I think you understand how an executive could use something like a document with Copilot's analysis to get deep understanding. You know, one of the things that I often end up doing as an executive is a lot of work with individuals. Individual people make a big difference. And the presentations that I make to individuals oftentimes have a big impact on the organization and its direction. Let's go ahead and close our Outlook. Let's close up some of the stuff that we've got open here, and let's move to a presentation. We talked about building a KPI dashboard, customized, personalized KPI dashboard. Let's go to PowerPoint now, and let's build the presentation using the document that we created so that we can have a presentation to share with individuals. Now, let's create a presentation using the geometric annual presentation design. We'll pretend that this is one of our corporate templates, and we're going to say create. Once we're here, Copilot meets us where we are, so we're going to create a presentation from a file. And the file that we're going to work with is the file that we just created. Let's go to Files, and there it is, KPI Dashboard Business Plan. So let's use the KPI Dashboard document, and we'll turn Microsoft 365 Copilot loose to build a PowerPoint presentation for us. Now, we've chosen a corporate template, and Copilot knows that, and it wants our permission to make changes to the template. So we're going to say yes. Now, that doesn't mean it's going to change the template layout and design. It's just going to change, like in this case, the words basic presentation are going to get the title of our presentation. Now, it does take a good solid minute or so to create an entire PowerPoint presentation with its speaker notes. Now, we look at this, and it's got the right look and it's got the right feel, but I don't particularly love it. It is a great first draft, but I want to do a little bit of additional work to kind of clean it up and get the look and the feel to be exactly what I want. And so let's go to File, and let's first save this. And we're going to call this one KPI Dashboard. And we'll save that in OneDrive. And now we can start working with the presentation through the use of Designer. So if we were to go to Home and find the ribbon, all of the functionality that you're used to in PowerPoint still works. Now, this is a business proposal. So I want to move to something like this. Now, I don't love the way the white lettering disappears on this particular background. And I might hand this off to one of my assistants and say, clean this up so it looks great. But you can see that Designer is very good at picking a layout and a look and feel that's going to be great. Now, in this case, I don't like agenda at the bottom. I like agenda to be up here. I would really like agenda to be a little bit cleaner. Oh, I love that executive summary. That's nice. It's got the look and the feel. Although it would be nice if we had an image here. You know, it would be nice if we had an image of a KPI dashboard. What if we went to Copilot and we asked Copilot, can you create an image of a cool KPI dashboard? Copilot in the Microsoft 365 space has access to Dolly as part of the GPT large language model. So not only will it generate text, but it can also generate images that in this case we could add directly to a presentation. Let's see what Dolly comes up with in terms of a nice KPI dashboard. We'll wait for just a moment. Wow, that is stunning. I'm not sure whether I like this one, or this one better. Let's go with this one. We're a high-tech company, and I think our customers might appreciate this. In this case, the customers would be the board of directors. Let's go ahead and turn Copilot off, and we'll go back to Designer, and we'll get Designer to help us make this look better. Let's see, no design ideas for this slide, really. I guess I'll have to try and make it look better. And I think that actually doesn't look so bad. So there's a nice slide for the executive summary. We've got a nice KPI dashboard. And we'll go through and we'll finalize this. But I think we've got a good presentation. Now, we've been working together for a good solid 20 minutes. In that time, we worked with Copilot in a conversation to identify opportunities for our business to create a personalized KPI dashboard, which may change the way that we make business decisions going forward. We moved into Copilot in the browser, and we started to work through the details of what that personalized KPI dashboard might contain, how it might benefit us. We created a shared page where the executive team can start to share their ideas. We moved from there to Microsoft Word, where we worked through some information building a business plan proposal for this KPI dashboard. I had to take a little side note or side turn there to go and prepare for a short meeting and analyze 5 years worth of ADatum's business data to get some cool insights that I could use in the meeting. Then we transferred our attention back over to the presentation mode where we generated the PowerPoint slides, the speaker notes, and a custom image to use in the presentation that we'll build for the board of directors. That's a lot in 20 minutes. At the beginning of this session, I mentioned to you that Microsoft's mission was to empower every person in every organization on the planet to achieve more. Microsoft 365 Copilot will empower every executive in your organization to achieve more. I hope you've enjoyed learning about Microsoft 365 Copilot and how it can make your executives more productive, more creative, and more collaborative. It's been a pleasure working with you. I hope to work with you again soon.